Martin Thornton and his younger brother Gerald live with their mother next door to the house of Alexander Reed on a large council estate. For some time there's been a history of petty squabbles between the two families, culminating on the night of Friday, December the 15th, in an argument, following which Reed was found seriously injured with shotgun wounds. The Thornton brothers stand charged with his attempted murder and causing grievous bodily harm. Medical evidence has been brought to show that it is unlikely that Reed, semi-paralyzed as a result of his injuries, will ever recover his power of speech. Reed's employee and lodger, William Johnson, is now being examined by Miss Tate, prosecuting counsel.
What is the nature of
since they done him. Reed's brother's been looking after the work for him.
But you're still driving one of the lorries?
Aye.
Now, are there, or were there, any other employees?
No.
No one to keep the books and look after the accounts?
No, he did all that himself. He had a very good head for figures.
Now, will you tell us what happened on the night of the assault? That is, the night of December the 15th.
Well, we was going out for a few jars, like.
Jars?
Have a few drinks.
Where did you go?
Jimmy Forshaw's.
Jimmy Forshaw's?
Aye, the Grapes. Jimmy Forshaw's. Well, that's whose pub it is. At least it used to be. He's dead now. It's his daughter Mary has it, but everybody calls it Jimmy Forshaw's.
Mr. Jackson, I realize that you are doing your best to give us a full account of the events of the night of December the 15th. But would it not be possible for you to be a little more concise in your replies to counsel?
Concise?
Brief, Mr. Johnson. Brief.
So you went to the Grapes public house. At what time was that?
It'd be about 8 o'clock to past.
Did you go to any other public houses that night?
No, just Jimmy. Just the Grapes.
Now, you stayed in in the Grapes all evening. Until what time?
Just before the child went out.
Miss Tate...
Before closing time, my lord. Why was that?
Well, we had a barney with that lot.
The defendants, Gerald and Martin Thornton.
Aye.
Now, can we come to that in a moment? You say that you went to the Grapes with Reed. Now, was anyone else with you?
No, not then.
Did you arrange to meet anyone?
Not really.
But someone was with you in the public house?
Oh, we met Madge there, Madge Gorman, but it wasn't exactly arranged.
What exactly was it then?
Well, it's more sort of expected than arranged. We usually had a drink together, and it was Friday night. As a matter of fact, Madge told us it was her birthday, but she could have been kidding us on.
Were the Thorntons in the public house when you arrived?
I don't know.
I think you can do better than that, Mr. Johnson. Were the Thornton brothers in the public house when you arrived, or not?
I don't know.
Mr. Johnson, I must remind you that you are on oath, and this court may take a dim view of any prevarication on your part. Prevarication.
Could you break that down for me, sir?
Evading answering. Hedging. Dodging the question.
My lord.
Mr. Johnson, there has been a singular lack of cooperation in the way in which you have been giving your evidence. And I must warn you that unless you answer the questions frankly, I shall have to consider whether I should use my powers to deal with you for contempt. Now, do you understand that?
Sir.
Very well. Were the Thorntons in the public house known as the Grapes when you arrived, or not?
Well, I don't know, sir.
I have warned you, Johnson.
If it please your lordship, I think I may be able to explain. Now, why do you say you don't know?
Well, it's the pub.
Go on.
Well, it's one of them old-fashioned beer houses, like, you know, all that sort of carved plasterwork and solid wood, mahogany, not the sort of stuff you get nowadays. Well, you can't really tell who's in there and who isn't.
Why is that?
We're so separate, you know, cubicles with high backs like. Well, anybody could be sitting there all night and you might never notice them.
So when did you first notice Martin and Gerald Thornton in the bar?
Well, when it was my turn to push the boat out.
When it was your round?
I am most obliged, Miss Tate.
Aye. Well, I was up at the bar getting them in and Jerry was there.
Gerald Thornton.
Aye.
Did he say anything to you?
No, he just nodded. We weren't speaking to each other on account of the things that had happened.
What sort of things?
Oh, it wasn't between me and them, it was Sandy.
Alexander Reed.
Aye. Yeah, they'd been rowing long before I knew them. Sometimes there was talking, sometimes there wasn't.
And on this particular night, they weren't talking?
Well, not at first. Then Martin sent a drink across for Madge's birthday.
He knew Mrs. Gorman?
Yes.
Did he send a drink Just for Mrs. Gorman?
No, he sent a whole round, and then they came over and sat with us.
Who did?
Well, Martin and Jerry and their old lady.
Their mother, Mrs. Thornton.
Yes.
I see. So you were all sitting happily in the same cubicle drinking together. And then what happened?
Well, they started a row over something.
Who did?
Well, Sandy Reed and Jerry and Martin.
And what were they rowing about?
I don't know, but Martin and Jerry got up and took their old lady back to the other cubicle.
So you heard nothing of the argument?
Only what they said when they left.
And what was that?
Well, Martin said, we'll finish you, Sandy Reed. Only it was a bit stronger than that.
You need not be embarrassed about telling us precisely what he did say.
Well, he said, we'll effing finish you.
And that was all? You've absolutely no idea what it meant or what the argument was about?
No, there was always bad blood between them.
Did Alexander Reed tell you what the argument was about?
No, he just said, let's get out of here. I can't stand the smell or something like that.
Nothing else?
Well, he said, bloody papists.
So it was an argument about religion then?
No, well, I mean to say, it was just something to say. Martin would be just as likely to call Sandy a Protestant bastard. Well, you've got to say something, haven't you?
Perhaps. Now, are you sure you heard nothing of this argument?
No. Well, I was just working for Sandy. I didn't know anything about what was going on between them. I didn't want to know.
I see. Now, what happened next? Did you leave the public house?
Well, Sandy and Madge did. I went across to the gents. It was just about closing time anyway.
And were the Thorntons still there?
No, they must have been leaving because their table was empty. And I saw Jerry waiting outside the ladies. Must have been for his ma.
Did he say anything?
He said, you want to watch your step too, you effing grass.
And have you any idea what that was all about?
No.
So then you returned to Cromwell Crescent. Now, did you, for any reason, try to enter the Thornton house or garden at number 7?
No, ma'am.
You didn't perhaps take a short cut across the garden?
No, we went straight into Sandy's.
Were there any signs that the Thorntons were home yet?
No lights on.
So if they did leave the public house at the same time as you, then for some reason they'd not gone straight home.
Oh, my Lord.
At all events, you formed the impression they'd not gone straight home.
That's right.
Now, what did you do when you got inside Reed's house?
We just sat around talking, watching the telly.
Did you carry on drinking?
Oh, we had another drink poured out.
How much drink had you had that evening?
Not much.
Were you in fact drunk when you left the public house, or perhaps later at Reed's house?
No, not drunk.
A little, perhaps, little merry?
Oh, I don't think I'd call it merry. We weren't in that sort of mood.
Right. Well, can you tell the jury what happened next?
Well, after about half an hour, the bell rang and Sandy went to answer it.
Did you know who was at the door?
No, but we heard shouting. I went to the window. It was Martin Thornton. He was trying to get Sandy to come out the front, pulling at him.
What did you do?
Well, I went through the kitchen and out the back door.
Now, Reed, you say, was in the hallway, and Thornton was more or less on the doorstep outside. Now, did you have to go through that hallway in order to get to the back door?
No, it's one of them what they call open plan. The front room and the kitchen have this sliding partition in between.
Why didn't you go to the front door?
I don't know. I just went through the back door and round.
I think now, there must have been some reason.
No, I don't know. Well, the front hall's very small and narrow.
So you thought that if there were going to be a fight of some sort, you might as well conduct it in the open.
I suppose so. You can't really think when these things are happening.
So you went around the house to the front, rather than go straight to where Reed and Thornton were arguing? Or were they fighting by now?
It takes two to fight.
Would you answer the question, Mr. Johnson?
Well, Sandy wasn't doing anything. Martin was still trying to pull him out, and Sandy was holding back.
Carry on, please.
Well, as I got round the corner of the house, I saw Jerry Thornton over on their side. He had something in his hand. I thought it must have been a spade or a pick handle or something. Well, it was very dark round the back and the lamps weren't working.
The street lamps in front.
They don't last 10 minutes without the kids smashing them up.
And what happened then?
Well, Jerry climbed over the fence at the side and started sneaking up the path to the front. I just slid up on the quiet after him and looked round the corner.
And what did you see?
Well, Jerry was holding this shotgun.
Now, you're quite sure of that. You've just said it was dark.
I was a lot nearer now, though, wasn't I? And the light was on in the hall, shining through the front door.
Now, was Gerald Thornton just holding the gun, or was he pointing it?
Oh, he was pointing it. He was aiming it at Sandy from about 5 or 6 foot away.
What was Martin Thornton doing at this time?
He was still trying to pull Sandy out.
I see. But Gerald Thornton was pointing the gun at Reed.
He wouldn't have been pointing it at his own brother, would he?
And then?
Well, Jerry was saying, stop the blathering and leave hold of him, Martin. Let's finish the bloody thing once and for all.
Let's finish the bloody thing once and for all. Now, those were his precise words.
More or less.
And then?
Well, as I slid up to the corner, I tried to grab the gun. Jerry started kicking at me to keep off and swinging the gun barrel. And then Martin came across and put the boot in.
He kicked you?
Aye, right down below.
Did you fall?
Aye. I was still grabbing hold of Jerry, though, and as I hit the ground, he fired the gun.
You were still holding on to Gerald Thornton at the time the gun went off?
No, no, definitely not. I was on the ground, and Martin was kicking me all over my head. Then I heard the gun go off.
Now, there is absolutely no question of it going off by accident while you were struggling with the Thorntons.
No, how could there be? Well, he fired both barrels, and you can't do that by accident.
You heard both barrels fired?
Aye, one after the other.
Then?
Well, they cleared off.
And you made no attempt to follow them?
No, they just stunned me over, and they had the gun, hadn't they? Well, I got up and went over to see what had happened to Sandy. And by this time, Madge was standing there screaming her head off, so I took her in the kitchen and made her a cup of tea to calm her down.
And we know that afterwards you informed the police.
Aye.
Thank you.
You left Reed lying there while you made a cup of tea for Mrs. Gorman.
Well, I had a look at him. I reckoned he was dead. I don't know. It's all very confused now.
Take your time.
Well, I mean, see, he didn't seem to be breathing or moving or anything, and, well, there was blood all over him. Well, there didn't seem to be anything we could have done for him, and Madge was standing there screaming her head off. I tried to calm her down, and then I went for the police.
Mr. Johnson, according to the medical records, all this happened at approximately midnight, and yet it wasn't until after 1 o'clock that you notified the police. Now, was there some reason for that delay?
Well, it's always the same, isn't it? If you don't want to see a copper, you fall over them, and the minute you want one, they're all on the tea break. I walked all the way to the headquarters without seeing a single squad car.
You didn't think of telephoning the emergency services with Reed lying there shot and seriously injured?
Well, I didn't know he was alive. I thought they'd done for him. Any road, have you tried finding a phone that works round our way? By the time you found one, you might as well have sent a carrier pigeon.
Now, why didn't you drive?
Well, we hadn't been using the car. I was very confused. Anyway, the key was in Sandy's pocket. I didn't want to touch him. He was soaked in blood.
Has it not since crossed your mind that had you shown a somewhat greater sense of urgency that night, Alexander Reed might not now be semi-paralyzed and without his power of speech?
Of course I've thought of it. There's hardly been a minute I haven't thought of it. Bastards.
What was going on between Reed and the Thorntons. Now, why was that?
With a hard man.
Hard men? Do you mean they have some kind of reputation?
Aye, I'll say.
For what?
Well, for getting their own way.
By violent means?
Aye.
I see. Now, Reed's business is, I believe, subcontracting for the building trade, delivery of sand and so on.
A bit of demolition and removal, too.
Was never anything irregular about this work?
No, there was always plenty to do.
No, I don't think you quite understand me. The goods handled, were they legitimately received and legitimately delivered?
Yes.
You never, for example, as far as you knew, delivered 4 loads of gravel and had delivery notes signed for, say, 6 or 7?
Not with my lorry.
Now, I understand you said that Reed was good with figures, didn't you? He kept his books himself.
Aye.
And you'd had a good week, the week before the present incident. What exactly did that mean?
Well, we were very flush, and Sandy had given me a good bonus.
For what?
I don't get you.
Well, was the week in question a good week because Reed, with your assistance, had managed to defraud more than the usual number of building contractors? Is that why you were celebrating?
No, it wasn't.
I think you said you never met the Thorntons until you came to work for Reed. Is that right?
Well, not as far as I know.
Were you ever employed as a driver by a firm known as Baker Build?
Yes.
Do you happen to recall who was foreman on the particular site where you were working?
No, it was a long time ago.
Could it perhaps have been Martin Thornton?
Well, I don't know. I told you, it was ages ago.
Well, let me try to refresh your memory for you then and suggest that you have a very clear recollection of Martin Thornton because he was foreman for Baker Build at the time. And indeed, it was his responsibility to dismiss you when it was discovered that you were employed in the same trade that employs you now. That is, theft by the lorry load from building sites.
No.
Are you still saying you didn't know Martin Thornton?
Well, it was them two that was doing it, and me
So
that
you
carried the
did
can.
know Martin Thornton?
Well, they were fixing up the delivery notes and all that, and they got me the sack because I found out they were using me to do the dirty work for them.
Well, if that was the case, why didn't you report the matter?
You don't do that. They'd have made sure I never got another job.
Mr. Johnson, you describe my clients as hard men. Would you describe yourself as a hard man?
It's not the sort of thing you say about yourself.
No, other people would have to call you that, wouldn't they? But you do have a reputation as a hard man, don't you?
My lord, I do not see the relevance of this line of questioning.
Quite, Miss Tate. If you have a point to make, Mr. Lotterby, would you make it?
My lord, the point I'm trying to make is that Johnson's employment with Reed was not simply as a lorry driver, but as a kind of bodyguard. That was your job with Reed, wasn't it, Mr. Johnson? And that was why you moved into his house as his muscle man.
No.
Sir Johnson, what was your state when you left the public house that evening?
My state?
Well, you've been drinking rather a lot and were, by your own admission, angry, were you not?
I wasn't too happy, if that's what you mean, but I hadn't drunk much.
You say that the Thorntons were not at home when you returned to Cromwell Crescent. Now, what made you think that?
Well, like I said, there were no lights on.
Oh, may I suggest that the reason that you knew the Thorntons were not at home is that you ascertained their absence by hammering on the front door, and that you then proceeded in your drunken and angry state, together with Mrs. Gorman and Mr. Reed, to indulge in a variety of somewhat childish and idiotic acts.
What do you mean?
What I mean is that for a long time now, my clients have been subjected to minor nuisances committed by you or your employer, Reed, and that on the night in question, you, acting with Reed, upended their dustbin on their front step, pushed rubbish through their letterbox, and sprayed with an aerosol various inflammatory slogans on their door and walls.
That must have been the kids. It's always happening around there.
Don't you find it surprising that it's only the Thorntons' house that has suffered in the past from these acts of vandalism? And that they always appear to occur only following some contretemps with yourself or Reed? A Barney, I think you'd call it.
What a good thing you're here, Mr. Lotterby.
Indeed, my lord. Well, Mr. Johnson?
But I've told you, it must be the kids around there.
At midnight.
But it could have been done at any time, couldn't it?
You say Martin Thornton was trying to pull Reed from the front door into the garden. Now, why do you think he was doing that?
To get a bit more room for a swing, I suppose.
Oh, isn't it more likely that he was trying to pull him out to show the damage caused to his house? Now, why didn't you go immediately to his assistance?
I did, didn't I?
Via the back door. Now, why didn't you go straight from the sitting room to the front door?
It wouldn't have helped.
Oh, you wanted to sneak around the back, trying to creep up on Thornton, is that it? Or was there some other reason? Does the kitchen door lead directly out to the garden?
No, it leads into the back hall, like I said. Then there's the door to the garden.
And I believe that in that back hall are a larder and a coal store. Inside the back door, that is.
Ah, that's right. If they wanted to knock off the coal, they'd have to get through the back door first.
Now, Detective Sergeant Falls has told us that when a search was made of Reed's house, the coal store was found to be padlocked. Now, why was that?
I don't know. It's Reed's house, not mine.
Oh, but you knew where the key was, didn't you? It was you who opened it for the police. Was there something kept in the coal store? Something other than coal? Is that why it was locked?
I don't know what you're getting at.
Well, what I'm getting at is that the reason you crept out of the back door is that you wanted to collect a weapon on the way. And that weapon, the shotgun that injured Reed, was kept in that coal store, which is the reason why it was locked.
That's a lot of balls.
You had the shotgun, didn't you? And Gerald Thornton, far from having the weapon himself, crossed the fence and tried to take it from you. And then in the struggle, you fired that shotgun and accidentally injured your employer beyond all hope of recovery.
That's a lot of lies.
No, Mr. Johnson, it's you that's telling the lies. Now, why, after shooting Reed, did you not go directly for help?
I didn't shoot him.
After he was shot?
I told you, Madge was standing there screaming her head off, and I had a look at him. I thought he was dead. I swear to God, I thought he was dead.
Had Mrs. Gorman seen any of these events?
No, the sitting room door was closed till I went in and told her.
Oh.
In fact, she asked me what's happened.
What did you say?
Well, I said, I think Sandy's dead.
You used those exact words. You didn't say who had shot him.
I don't know. When these sort of things happen, you can't remember exactly what you said.
You mean when you've had a lot to drink? Is that also why you took such a long time going to the police?
I've told you, I tried to settle Madge down, then I couldn't find a squad car and ended up walking.
You didn't go anywhere else first?
No.
You are aware that despite a thorough search, no evidence of a gun was found on the premises of these two men you are accusing of attempted murder?
Well, they could have got rid of it, couldn't they?
Oh, then, but so could you. I put it to you that the first thing on your mind, having disposed of the weapon, was not going to the authorities, but making sure that you got your version of the events to Reed's brothers first. Men with an even greater reputation as hard men than yourself.
I don't know what you're talking about. Jerry Thornton tried to shoot Sandy Reed, and I tried to stop him, that's what. They've been telling you a pack of lies.
There is one other matter, my lord. I believe you said that Gerald Thornton called you an effing grass. You had no idea what he meant?
No.
You didn't know what the word grass means?
No.
I take it then you have no idea of the sort of language used by the criminal element?
No.
You are William Anthony Johnson, are you not?
Aye.
Were you not in 1968 convicted of assault with an offensive weapon? A knife? And served a sentence of 6 months for that offence, following which you were immediately convicted of housebreaking early in 1969. Is that not so, Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
And have you not since that date been convicted of some 5 further criminal offences, 3 of which have involved you in jail sentences?
Yes.
And so having spent the major part of the last 5 years in and out of jail, you expect us to believe that you did not know what the word grass means?
I didn't know what grass was. I thought it meant pot.
No further questions.
Miss Tate, do you wish to re-examine?
Thank you, no, my lord.
Very well. You may leave the witness box, Mr. Johnson.
My lord, I'm afraid my final witness, Mrs. Madge Gorman, does not appear to be present in the witness room. We have been making inquiries, and apparently she has been traced, but it will be some little time before she arrives. I wonder, therefore, if you will consider this a suitable time at which to adjourn?
I don't see that we have any alternative, Miss Tate. Very well. I shall adjourn the court until 10:30 tomorrow.
The case of the Queen versus Thornton and Thornton will be resumed tomorrow in the Crown Court. The trial of Martin and Gerald Thornton, accused of the attempted murder of their next-door neighbour, Alexander Reed, was adjourned yesterday when an important prosecution witness, Mrs. Madge Gorman, failed to appear in court. Earlier, the court had heard from William Johnson, Reed's employee and lodger, how an argument in a public house had led to Reed's being shot by Gerald Thornton and so seriously wounded that he is semi-paralysed and has lost his power of speech. Mr. Lotterby, counsel for the Thornton brothers, has alleged in cross-examination that it was in fact Johnson who threatened the Thorntons with a shotgun and, in the ensuing struggle, accidentally shot Alexander Reed.
Mrs. Madge Gorman.
Madge Gorman has now been traced by the police and brought to court.
is your religion?
Roman Catholic.
Take the book in your right hand and read aloud the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You're Mrs. Madge Gorman of 25 Station Road, Fulchester.
Yeah.
And what is your date of birth, Mrs. Gorman? The date and month will suffice. Your birthday, that is.
December the 15th.
One moment, Miss Date. Mrs. Gorman. Mrs. Gorman. I should like to know why you were not present in court yesterday when you were called.
I forgot, sir.
You forgot. Mrs. Gorman, would that injury to your face have anything to do with it?
Well, yes.
Mrs. Gorman, has that injury anything to do with this case?
No.
You're sure, Mrs. Gorman?
Yeah.
Very well. Then I must tell you that I take an extremely dim view of your absence yesterday, and I shall have to consider whether I ought to punish you. Do you fully understand that?
Yes, sir.
Very well. You may continue, Miss Date.
You said, Mrs. Gorman, that your birthday was December the 15th. That is the night that Alexander Reed was assaulted. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes, miss.
Now, can you tell the court in your own words just what happened on that night?
We were going to have a drink together.
Who was?
Me and Sandy Reed, and Willie Johnson.
To celebrate your birthday, I presume.
Yeah, but we usually had a drink of a Friday anyway.
Go on.
Well, I went to Jimmy Foreshaw's.
To the Grapes public house?
Yeah, the Grapes. I got there about 8:30.
And were Reed and Johnson already there?
Yeah.
So you joined them for a drink. Was anyone with you?
Not then, just the three of us. Then Willie saw Jerry Thornton at the bar and he came over to join us.
I take it that you already knew Gerald Thornton.
Yes.
How long had you known him for long?
It's hard to say.
How long?
Well,
You knew him for a matter of months, perhaps, or longer.
longer. 3 or 4 years, I suppose.
And his brother Martin, did you know him before that evening?
Yes, miss.
So the Thornton brothers were old friends of yours, in fact.
Yeah.
Do you see them in court today?
Yes, miss.
Would you point them out, please?
Them two in the dock.
And which one is Martin Thornton?
On the left.
Now, could you see the Thornton brothers from where you were sitting in the pub?
No, miss. I was on the inside of the cubicle. Willie told me they were over there.
Johnson could see them then. And was there anyone else with them?
Their ma was.
What happened then?
Martin sent a drink across.
Just for you, or for Reed and Johnson as well?
For all of us. Me and the lads.
Why do you think he did that?
Because it was my birthday, I think.
And how did he know that? Had you told him?
I can't remember.
Do you mean that Martin Thornton knew already that it was your birthday? Is that it? Could he have known?
We could have.
How?
Well, I've known him for a long time.
Longer than you've known Alexander Reed?
Yeah.
Did you meet Reed through the Thorntons? Did they introduce you?
No, I mean, they didn't introduce me. I just sort of got to know him through him living next door to Jerry and Martin.
I see you're a regular visitor at the Thorntons' house.
I used to be.
Used to be?
We fell out.
I see. They do seem to find it very difficult to maintain good relationships, don't they? Now, what happened then after Martin Thornton had sent a drink across for you?
After a bit, they came over and sat down.
Now, were they sociable, or was there anything about their attitude that struck you as odd?
Depends what you mean. Nothing was ever normal between Sandy and them. Anyway, we got up to have a game of darts as soon as they came over.
Who did?
Me and Willie. And their ma got up too.
You asked her to play with you?
No, she just sort of assumed. I suppose that was funny, because normally speaking, she can't stand my guts.
She can't stand your guts. Why is that, do you think?
I don't know. I suppose it's one of those things. You take a dislike and that's that. There was no skin off me as far as I was concerned.
So the three of you got up to play darts, leaving Gerald and Martin Thornton sitting at the same table with Alexander Reed. Isn't it a little difficult for three people to play darts?
Oh, we got another fella to make up the four. He was over at the board.
And how far is the dartboard from the cubicle where the others were still sitting?
The other end of the bar.
Could you see or hear anything of what was happening at that table?
No, it was pretty busy and there was a lot of people in the way. Any road, I was concentrating on the game.
You're a keen darts player, I take it.
I play for the women's team and the mixed.
Now, how long did it take, this game of darts?
I don't know. The usual time, about 10 minutes, I suppose.
Did you notice anything unusual when you returned?
They seemed to have been having a row. When Mrs. Thornton went to sit down, Jerry picked her drink up and passed a remark.
What remark?
I don't remember.
Now, could you try?
I think it was something about being fussy about who he drank with.
They weren't being sociable anymore.
No, they were daggers drawn.
I see. And then?
Sandy said, drink up and let's go.
Did he say why he wanted to go?
No, but he seemed to be in a bit of a temper about whatever had been said.
And what was Johnson's condition at this time?
He didn't seem any different. Both of them was in a bit of a mood anyway, but I put that down to the row. And they seemed to be in a bit of a hurry to get back, that was all.
Now, why do you think they were in a hurry?
I don't know. I presumed it was something on the telly they wanted to get back for.
Did you go straight back to Reed's house?
Yeah, we watched the telly.
Without visiting or in any way entering the Thorntons' house on the way?
We went straight back.
Now, did you happen to notice whether the Thorntons were back as you passed or not?
No, we were coming from the other way. We just went straight in and watched telly and had another drink.
For how long?
About half an hour. Then Martin started banging on the door.
Now, how did you know it was Martin Thornton?
I looked out of the window after Sandy got up to answer the door.
What made you do that?
I heard voices.
Shouting?
Not really. Just a bit loud, getting at each other.
What about?
I couldn't say I didn't stay at the window.
Now, what was your condition at the time, Mrs. Gorman? Were you the worse for drink?
No, we hadn't drunk that much.
And Reed and Johnson?
They were sort of upset about what had happened in the pub, but they weren't drunk. They hadn't had much.
And you'd no idea what the argument at the front door was about?
No, I turned the telly up. They were always having rows like a bunch of daft kids.
Was Johnson involved in these rows?
Not really. We hadn't known him long enough.
Now, what happened then?
Willie went to the window and looked out, and then he went out the back.
Did he say anything?
No.
Did he have anything with him? Was he carrying anything?
No, nothing.
And Johnson, you say, went out of the back. Now, I believe the kitchen leads onto a small porch, and then a second door opens onto the garden. Now, did you see Johnson go through this second door?
No.
Then how do you know he went out of the back?
I heard it close.
Immediately?
What do you mean?
It's a perfectly simple question, Mrs. Gorman. Did you hear the door close immediately, or was there a pause?
No, he went straight through. I heard the door close.
Now, do you have any knowledge of what happened next?
Not right then. Next thing I heard was the 2 shots.
You neither heard nor saw anything of the argument.
I was sitting down watching the telly.
I take it, then, that nothing in either Reed's or Johnson's behaviour encouraged you to believe that this was anything more than a routine altercation?
No.
How long did the row continue?
Not long. The shots were nearly straight away.
Did the 2 shots come together, or was there some time between?
More or less one after the other.
How did you react to this?
I was dead scared. I started screaming.
Before you knew what was happening?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Willie opened the door and I could see Sandy lying in the hall all covered in blood. I think I was screaming already. I don't know.
What did Johnson say?
He said, I think Sam's dead.
Did he examine Reed?
I don't know, he could have. I was in no state to notice.
Did you do anything about Reed?
How could I?
Did Johnson do anything?
He was as scared as I was. He didn't seem to want to go near him. He made me some tea and then he went to get the police.
Leaving you alone in the house with the injured Reed?
Yeah.
Did you stay there?
No, I couldn't stand it. I went out the back and over to the Thorntons.
That strikes me as rather an odd thing to do.
I didn't want to stay in the house with Sandy lying there like that. It was the only place. I don't live round that way.
Who let you in at the Thorntons' house?
Ma Thornton. She gave me some whiskey.
Mrs. Thornton was still up and about?
Only for a bit. She was shook too and she went to bed. She was in a worse state than I was.
Were Gerald and Martin Thornton in at the time?
I think they were in the kitchen talking.
But you didn't see them?
No. I heard voices, though.
And where were you at this time?
I was in the bedroom with their ma.
What happened then?
Then the police came and started asking us all questions. Then they started to search the house looking for the gun. And then something happened and they had to go outside. And...
Go on.
Jerry came in and put his hand under the mattress on his ma's bed and...
Now take your time, Mrs. Gorman.
He had a gun. He'd hidden it under the mattress.
What did he do with it?
He put it in the wardrobe where the police had already looked. Then the police came back in. They'd been looking around outside, I think. They came back and Ma said they might as well search her bed as well.
How did she say that? What was her manner?
It was like, you've caused enough trouble, you might as well go the whole hog.
She was taunting the police, you'd say.
Yeah.
So the police searched her bed and found nothing because the gun had meanwhile been removed to the wardrobe. That's correct.
Yeah.
Now, did you have any idea what happened to that gun?
No, I didn't want to know.
I can quite believe that, Mrs. Gorman. Thank you very much.
Mrs. Gorman, you say there was nothing unusual in Reed and the Thorntons airing their grievances in public on the front doorstep?
No.
Did Johnson join in these arguments?
When he was there, yes.
Did they ever end in violence?
Once or twice. They might push each other about a bit or have a swing, but it was usually just hot air.
So you had no reason to believe that Alexander Reed was being threatened in any way when Martin Thornton came to the door?
No.
Didn't you find it odd, then, that Johnson should sneak out of the back instead of going to the front and joining in the argument?
I didn't think about it.
No, you sat down and watched the telly. In fact, you turned the telly up, didn't you? Very loud.
Yeah.
Loud enough to drown their voices, voices that were arguing a few yards away.
Yeah.
And yet, despite all this noise, Reed and Thornton arguing in the front hall, the telly going full blast in the sitting room, you say you heard Johnson close the back door.
Yeah.
So Johnson, sneaking quietly out of the back in order to slide round to the front, to use his own word, to surprise Thornton, slams the back door so hard that you hear its noise above all else that is going on.
Yes, I heard him close the back door.
Are there any other doors in the back hall?
Yeah. The larder door and the coal store.
Well, could it have been one of those doors you heard slammed? The coal store, for instance?
What would he want to do that for?
Well, perhaps you can answer that question yourself, Mrs. Gorman. No, quite understandably, you didn't want to remain in the same house with what you thought was a dead man. So, after Johnson left, you went to the Thorntons. Now, what time was that?
Just after midnight.
And you went across to the Thorntons. You believed that Reed had been murdered, and with that thought in your mind, you went for solace to the house of my two clients, who you are now telling us you believed were his murderers.
I didn't believe that. I didn't think that way.
So at that time, you didn't believe the Thorntons had done the shooting. Just when did you decide that, then? When did you change your story, Mrs. Gorman?
I didn't mean that. I thought it had been an accident.
Who let you into the Thornton house?
Mrs. Thornton, like I said.
Are you sure of that? You were in a very confused state, were you not?
It was Mrs. Thornton.
When did she go to bed?
Straight away.
You sure she wasn't in bed already? Wasn't it Gerald Thornton who let you in?
She let me in.
I see. And what happened then?
I went straight into her bedroom to sit with her. She said she didn't feel well.
How long were you in the Thorntons' house before the police arrived?
About 3/4 of an hour.
Long enough for Martin and Gerald Thornton to have disposed of any possible weapon somewhere other than in their mother's bed, wouldn't you say?
I don't know what they were up to.
I see. So after 3/4 of an hour, the police arrived. Didn't it surprise you that they should take so long?
It doesn't surprise me at all.
Really? And they searched the house, finding nothing.
They found some stuff for cleaning a gun.
But they found no gun.
No.
And why do you suppose that was?
I've already said. Because they swapped it from the bed to the wardrobe while the police were outside the room.
And you claim you saw this and didn't tell the police about it? Now, would it have been the simplest thing to tell the police there and then about the gun in the wardrobe?
I was scared.
But a minute ago you said you went to the Thorntons for comfort. Now you say you felt scared.
I was scared. Once I saw the gun.
But you'd heard a gun. You knew there was a gun somewhere. You say you believed the Thorntons had fired the gun. So why were you scared? Why didn't you tell the police there and then?
I don't know. You don't do things normal when it's like that.
Oh, I can quite see that, Mrs. Gorman. But I suggest to you that the reason you didn't tell the police about the gun in the Thorntons' house is that there was no gun there.
There was. I saw it.
In the house where you've gone for comfort and protection? Protection from the man who really fired that gun, William Johnson?
No. I saw the gun in Martin's house.
Mrs. Gorman, Alexander Reed was a close friend of yours, wasn't he?
Yeah.
How close?
I don't get your meaning.
Oh, come on, Mrs. Gorman, there's no need to pretend. Was your relationship with Reed sexual?
I don't see what was wrong. His wife's left him and my old man took off years ago.
I take it your answer is yes.
Yeah.
Now, Martin Thornton, he knew of the date of your birthday, did he not? How did he come to know that? Were you also involved with him at some time?
Yeah.
How did that relationship end?
It started getting a bit rough and I finished it.
Now, isn't it the case that Martin Thornton finished it? And that it was through your continual calling at his house and trying to gain admittance that you met Reed in the first place?
No, it's him who's been pestering me. I didn't want to have anything to do with him anymore.
Oh, why was that?
I told you he got rough. And he couldn't do a thing without his mother having her say. He wouldn't blow his nose if she said he couldn't.
You'd be glad to see him out of the way then, would you?
I didn't say that.
Is that why you changed your story about the gun? Out of malicious spite against Martin Thornton? Helped, perhaps, by a little persuasion from another party.
My lord,
I withdraw that, my lord. You never saw any gun in their house, did you?
I did. I've been telling you the truth. It's them that's lying.
Mrs. Gorman, have you spoken to William Johnson recently?
No.
No more questions.
No further questions, my lord, and I have no further witnesses.
Very well. You may leave the witness box, Mrs. Gorman.
I call Martin Thornton.
What is your religion?
Roman Catholic.
Take the book in your right hand and read aloud the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
What is your full name?
Martin Alfred Thornton,
And where do you live?
7 Cromwell Crescent, Fulchester.
Mr. Thornton, you've heard it suggested that while Johnson and Mrs. Gorman and your mother were playing darts in the Grapes public house, you and your brother Gerald were having some kind of argument with Reed. Now, is that true?
Yes, sir, we did have words.
Now, how did it start?
Well, we went across to Reed's table after I realised that it was Mrs. Gorman's birthday, and I bought them all a drink.
So at that point you were on good terms with Reed.
Well, I'd say things were about normal, sir.
And what was normal between you and Reed?
Normally, we didn't have much time for each other. He'd done us a couple of bad turns in the past, sir, and he was a bit funny about religion. Sometimes you'd think we had 3 heads the way he'd behave.
What way would he behave?
Well, all these slogans on the walls, sir. And,
Did you see him doing it?
well, no, but it was obvious, sir. He'd have a bit of a row with them one night, and the following day the house would look like the front page of a Sunday newspaper.
So you say you sat down with Reed because he wanted to buy a drink for Mrs. Gorman's birthday, and that an argument started while the others were away playing darts. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, what did this argument concern?
Well, Reed and Johnson were collecting betting slips from the men working on the construction site.
Yes.
And my brother Jerry had a big win, but Reed refused to pay out. He said he hadn't been able to get to the betting shop that day and offered us the slips back with the stake money that we'd laid. Then we discovered that he hadn't been going to the betting shop at all, that he had been keeping the book himself. Well, that really wouldn't have mattered very much, sir, if he'd paid outright, but when it came to the big win, he couldn't pay out or didn't want to.
I see.
Well, it's just the idea of the thing, so when you got a big win, you know, he tried to cheat you out of it all.
Now, you've heard the evidence of William Johnson. Did you threaten Reed in any way in the public house?
Well, I said he'd better pay up or else.
Or else? Or else what, Mr. Thornton?
Or else I'd tell the other chaps what he was up to.
Had they lost too?
No, sir, but they wouldn't have liked it, and you need a lot of friends in his business.
Did you threaten any physical violence?
No, sir, just to drop him in it.
Did the idea of using physical violence cross your mind on that occasion?
No, not at all, sir. There would have been no need to, because he would have been finished anyway.
That was what you meant when you said to Reed, "I'll finish you."
Yes.
Now, you've heard a suggestion that you and your brother were involved in a fraudulent scheme, load splitting, I believe it's called. Now, would you tell the jury what is meant by this term, load splitting?
Well, the idea is that a lorry driver, say, brings one lorry load of sand to a building site, and the foreman signs notes for 2 lorry loads, and later on they get together and split the profits.
Now, were Reed and Johnson engaged in this fraudulent activity?
Well, not on our site, they weren't, sir. They wanted me to come in on it with them, but I refused.
And what was Reed's reaction to that?
He wasn't very happy about it.
I see. So Reed was also annoyed that you refused to cooperate in his fraudulent scheme?
Yes, sir. He said I'd live to regret it.
The case of the Queen versus Thornton and Thornton will be resumed tomorrow in the Crown Court. The trial of Martin and Gerald Thornton has now reached its final stages. Yesterday, the court heard from Mrs. Madge Gorman how she was present in the house of the Thorntons after Alexander Reed was severely wounded, and saw them hide a shotgun in their mother's bed while the house was being searched by the police, and then remove the gun to a wardrobe that had already been searched. The defence has alleged that Reed was in fact shot accidentally by his lodger, William Johnson. Martin Thornton, the elder of the 2 accused, is now in the witness box.
I wouldn't like to repeat them. We're good Christians in our house, and some of those things you wouldn't want to see or hear.
Abusive expressions and slogans?
Yes.
Did you know who had done this?
Reed, sir.
How did you know that?
Well, it was obvious, sir. Who else would have done it?
Now, what was your reaction to this vandalism?
Our mother was very upset about it, so the first thing we did was to take her upstairs and to put her to bed. Then I had a bit of a row with my brother as to what to do next. He was all for going to the police straight away and telling them about the mess that they'd made.
And what did you resolve?
Beg your pardon, sir?
What did you decide to do?
Well, I wanted to go and see Reed. I thought if I got there straight away, he might admit to doing it. And then my brother said, all right, but not to get into anything with him, just to face him with it. And if he didn't own up to it, then we'd go to the police and tell them about the lorry business and the Betts business as well. So I went across.
Alone?
Yes.
And Reed answered the door?
Yes, sir, almost so quickly he was expecting it. Before I had the words out of my mouth, he was denying that he had anything to do with it, which goes to prove that he had in fact done it, doesn't it?
Well, it certainly suggests it. Now, did you lay hold of Reed for any reason, or strike him in any way?
I might have pulled at him, sir. I wanted him to come out and to see the mess that he'd made, but he kept on saying that it had nothing to do with him, and...
And what?
Well, he was calling me a bloody Irish savage and a Catholic git and that.
I see. Go on, please.
The next thing I noticed, sir, was Johnson came round the side of the house, and he had this gun in his hand, and he pointed at me and started telling me to F off back where I came from.
He was threatening you with his gun?
Sir, he wasn't pointing it at anybody else.
Now, Reed was still in the doorway?
Yes, sir. As though he knew Johnson meant business and was keeping out of the way.
And where was your brother while this was happening?
Well, he must have been watching to see what happened, sir, and he must have seen Johnson come round the side of the house with the gun, because he came up behind Johnson then and tried to get the gun off him, and it went off.
Accidentally?
It looked like that, sir, but Johnson wouldn't let go of the gun, so it went off a second time.
And which shot hit Reed?
I don't know, sir. I wasn't watching him at the time. I was just looking at the two of them struggling. So when I realised that Reed had been hit, I pulled them apart.
You pulled your brother and Johnson apart?
Yes.
And you left Johnson there with the gun?
Yes. What else could we have done, sir? We just went back to the house.
Did you make any attempt to find out what had happened to Reed?
No, sir. Well, he had Mrs. Gorman and Johnson there with him, and they wouldn't exactly have welcomed us.
But you were upset by what had happened?
Oh, yes, sir. I mean, we don't mind living a bit rough, but guns is another matter altogether.
Now, when did Mrs. Gorman come to your house?
About 20 minutes or so after that, she came to the back door and my brother let her in.
So who entertained Mrs. Gorman until the police arrived?
I was in the kitchen, sir. I didn't really see very much of her.
But you were on good terms with her, despite her leaving you for Reed?
It was me who left her, sir.
You hadn't been pursuing her, pestering her?
No, sir. It was the other way around. She was always after me.
Now, the police arrived and searched your home, but found no gun.
No, sir. There was no gun there for them to find.
You didn't hide a gun in the bed and then move it to the wardrobe, as has been suggested?
No, sir. If we had a gun, in any case, we would have had plenty of time to get rid of it, and... Well, if we had shot Reed, sir, we'd hardly be sitting in the kitchen drinking tea.
But you've heard the evidence of the police witnesses who state that they found gun cleaning equipment in your house. Now, what was that doing there?
Well, if we were breaking in a new site, say, out in the country, sir, sometimes we would take a gun along with us to clear away the rabbits and the rats and that sort of thing.
And what happened to that gun?
We sold it to one of the chaps working on the building site a couple of months earlier. We meant to take him out the oil and the brush as well, but he got another job and we couldn't trace him, so it was just lying there.
There's no question of your possessing a gun on the night in question?
None at all, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Thornton.
Miss Tate?
Mr. Thornton, you have made several serious charges against Alexander Reed, who, as you well know, is unable to counter them. Firstly, this business of split loading.
Load splitting, miss.
Thank you, load splitting. The obtaining of false delivery notes, I believe. Now, surely such a fraudulent scheme would depend upon the cooperation of someone on the construction site.
Yes, it would.
And yet you have stated that although Reed was engaged in this practice, you refused this cooperation.
Yes.
Well, if Reed was engaged in such an undertaking, he could only have done it with your cooperation. You were the foreman, weren't you?
Yes, miss, but he didn't do it at any of our sites. I saw to that.
Well, how can you make such accusations?
It was common knowledge. He was doing it in other sites.
Why did you not report the matter to the police?
Well, we don't handle things that way.
Indeed. You prefer to handle things, the law, in your own way, then?
No, I didn't say that.
Nevertheless, you do seem to possess a curious reluctance to avail yourself of the forces of law and order. Now, what about this business of slogans and vandalism? Did you ever complain to the police about that?
Well, what could they have done about it, miss? They would never have been able to prove that it was him.
Could you have proved it?
Obvious. I mean, who else could it have been?
Is he the only person whose tracks you've crossed? Is it not a district with a long record of vandalism? We've heard the phones are always out of order.
Yes.
So it could have been anyone, couldn't it, if indeed it ever happened at all?
Happened all right, miss. And Reed and Johnson did it.
So Reed vandalized your home, and Reed was swindling the building contractors, and Reed was stealing your betting money, and yet on none of these cases did you report it to the police. Now that seems very odd.
Not at all, miss. You just don't do that sort of thing.
Well, what do? Shoot a man down? Now, I believe you said that you went straight home from the public house and your mother then went to bed. But according to Mrs. Gorman, it was your mother who opened the door to her.
My brother let her in. My mother was in bed and did not get out of it.
Then why should Mrs. Gorman say it was your mother?
Well, she might have been mistaken. She was in a terrible condition when she came over to the house.
How did your relationship with Mrs. Gorman end?
It had to.
Had to?
Yes. Well, I couldn't marry a divorced woman. In fact, she's not divorced yet anyway. She's just separated.
So she left you because you couldn't marry her?
It's the other way around, miss. I finished it.
But you have attempted to continue this relationship, indeed to the point of becoming something of a nuisance, according to Mrs. Gorman.
And that is not true.
But isn't that one of the reasons why you, in your drunken state, hammered on Reed's door that night?
I was not drunk, miss, and that had Nothing to do with me going over to Reed's that night.
You've told us instead a pack of nonsense about tipped over dustbins and rubbish through letterboxes, none of which, according to police evidence, was apparent in the light of day.
We cleaned it up, that's why, miss. We're clean people.
But as the police were there that night, why didn't you tell them about it?
It wouldn't have done any good.
Well, they could at least have witnessed its existence, could they not? Now, you expect us to believe that with Reed lying seriously injured and your mother unwell upstairs, you and your brother spent the time cleaning up the house?
Yes?
You were in the kitchen talking to your brother when Mrs. Gorman came.
Yes?
Then how could you have cleaned up the house?
We did it before she came over.
You went straight from the assault upon Reed and started clearing up and removing paint from walls? I think the jury are going to find some difficulty believing that. Mr. Thornton, the police found gun cleaning equipment in your house. How did that come to be there?
I've already said, miss, we sold the gun some months earlier and we meant to take the man the cleaning stuff as well.
Whose gun was it, yours or your brother's?
My brother's.
And were you present when it was sold?
No, it was his gun and he sold it. I saw him take it to work.
Did you see him sell the gun?
No, we don't work together. I work on a site on the hut on the site and he drives an excavator.
So you have no way of actually knowing whether he sold it or not?
I would have known, miss, because it would have been in the house.
Where was the cleaning equipment kept?
In the cupboard under the stairs.
Loose or contained in something?
In a case?
A gun case?
Yes.
The gun was taken from its case and carried loose to a building site for sale to some unknown and untraceable person. Isn't the truth of the matter that the gun never left your house until it was used to assault Alexander Reed? And that you, in the heat of the moment, neglected to get rid of that weapon? Now, isn't that the truth?
No, it isn't.
Well, I suggest it isn't, that what you were doing in the half hour after you committed this ghastly crime and Mrs. Gorman coming into the house was not clearing up this non-existent mess, but disposing of the weapon. Now, that's it, isn't it?
No.
Why did your mother have to answer the door to Mrs. Gorman? Because you weren't in the house?
My mother did not answer the door to Mrs. Gorman. My brother did.
Now, at the start of this fracas, you said that you attempted to pull Reed out of his house and into your garden. How far is it from Reed's front door to yours?
About 5 yards.
Is there a fence between?
A hedge and a fence, yes.
A hedge? So you would have had to pull him round that, wouldn't you? Now, how far would that make it?
About 20 yards.
You were going to pull Reed 20 yards. Do you think you could have done that against his will without a considerable amount of violence?
Well, I just wanted to face him with it.
Well, isn't it a bit unlikely that you would have succeeded?
You don't think that way at the time.
Well, how were you thinking at the time? Were you in a temper?
No, I just wanted to have it out with him. I'd already talked to my brother about it. In fact, he was in more of a temper than I was.
Was he indeed? So you were quite calm and collected when you deliberately laid hold on Mr. Reed and dragged him out from his doorstep, is that so?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Well, just what would you say? You first said you weren't in a temper, now you say you weren't calm and collected. Just what of these is it?
I wasn't in a temper. I just wanted to get things straight.
What exactly did you hope to achieve by dragging Reed out into your garden 20 yards?
I've already said I just wanted to face him with it.
Out in the open?
Yes. You can't argue in a doorway.
No. And the reason you wanted to pull him out was not to view your exterior decorations, but to set him up as a target for your brother, who was waiting with a gun. Now that's it, isn't it?
Thornton, I should like to take you back again over one or two points that the jury may think require a little clarification. Reed's collecting the betting slips from the building sites. Is that a normal sort of procedure for the men who work in the building industry?
When you're working out of town, yes.
And you suspected that Reed was not in fact taking the slips to a betting office, but in fact running a book himself. How could he do that?
Well, he'd know what everybody was betting and what the winnings came to. So it wouldn't have taken him a couple of weeks to work out that he could make 100 or more running the book himself.
Now, what you're suggesting is that of, say, a £150 bet, only £50 would be returned in winnings in an average week.
That's right.
Yet you continue to bet with him.
Oh, well, it didn't make no difference who the bookie was. I mean, whether it was Reed or some tough accountant.
What caused the argument then?
Well, when it came to the big win, he wouldn't pay out. See, I was due me 80 odd quid on a treble, and he tried to give me slip back and said that he hadn't had time to go to the betting shop.
And you didn't believe him?
Well, he always had time to go to the betting shop when I lost, didn't he?
And is that where the argument at the public house was about?
Yeah, it was. Well, that and the load splitting. But the betting mostly.
You didn't feel strongly about the load splitting that particular evening?
Oh, not at all. I just wanted me winnings.
And then I take it the vandalism at your home was the final straw?
Yeah, it was. I said to me brother it was time we stopped messing about and went to the police.
How did he react to that?
Oh, well, he's a great blatherer. He was still on for talking it out with the fella, and he said we'd given him till Tuesday to settle up the betting money, so in the end, well, I let him go over to Reed's.
And then after your brother Martin had engaged Reed on his doorstep, exactly what happened?
Well, I was watching from the window, and I heard this noise. I saw Johnson creeping up the side with a gun. I said, they could have had it all planned. They wanted our Martin to go round there and start an argument so they could lay hold of him from the back.
So what did you do?
Well, I pushed my way to the hedge and I laid hold of him.
What was Johnson doing at this point?
He was pointing the gun at my brother.
And?
Well, I tried to get it off him, but he fired it.
He fired it? Deliberately?
Well, I think he was trying to scare me off, but it must have been the first shot that got Reed.
What makes you say that?
Well, if it wasn't that shot, he'd have hardly hung around waiting for another while we were struggling with it.
Then the gun went off again?
Yeah, I had him on the ground then, and it must have gone off by accident.
I see. Now, is there any truth in the allegation that you and your brother then proceeded to kick Johnson in the head?
Oh, none at all, so we went straight back to the house.
Knowing that Reed had been shot and perhaps killed?
No, we didn't even know he'd been hit. You see, well, he'd moved back into the house a bit when the fight started, and where I ended up on the ground, well, I was out of sight of that.
Thank you, Mr. Thornton.
Miss Tate?
Mr. Thornton, you've stated that it was your belief that Reed was operating as a bookmaker rather than placing the bets with a betting shop. Now, I wonder, therefore, why you did not make some other arrangements.
Well, it didn't make no difference who the bookie was, so long as the winnings were paid out.
Perhaps not, but it is illegal. Why did you not report it to the police?
Why should we? He always paid up till it came to the big win.
But if what you're saying is true, then Reed was making a profit of £100 a week. Now, why should he refuse to pay this 80-odd pounds and so ruin what must have been a most lucrative enterprise for himself?
Because he thought he could pull a fast one and get away with it.
Now, you left the public house at more or less the same time as Reed and Johnson. How was it then that you arrived at Cromwell Crescent some half an hour later?
Well, I don't know what time they left, do I? Anyway, we had our ma with us and she doesn't walk so fast.
And you'd had a lot to drink too.
No, we didn't. We'd only a drop taken.
You didn't perhaps make your own separate way home? Separate, that is, from your brother Martin and your mother, perhaps?
I didn't know.
Well, I suggest that you had ample time to collect such a weapon in that half hour that elapsed after you left the public house.
So that rubbish.
Well, where was the gun then? In your house all the time?
I told you. I sold it months before.
Did you have a license for this gun you claim to have sold?
No.
Did the person you claim to have sold it to have a license?
And how should I know?
Because the law requires that you know. Do you know the name of the person you claim to have sold this gun to?
Yes, Michael. I can't think of his second name.
Because you never sold that gun at all, did you? And it was, as Mrs. Gorman has testified, in your house that evening until it was used to cruelly maim Alexander Reed.
It was not. I sold it months before.
Without its case to a complete stranger?
He wasn't a complete stranger. He was one of the boys on the side.
Well, do you honestly believe that the court will accept that you, in a legal possession of a weapon, sold it to someone whose name you cannot remember and you forgot to put it in its case?
Well, that's the truth.
No, the truth is that that was the weapon used that evening. And that was the weapon hidden in your mother's bed. And why was the gun-cleaning equipment found under the stairs? For the simple reason that it was too bulky to be hidden under the mattress. Now, that's the truth, isn't it?
Not at all.
No further questions, my lord.
No re-examination, my lord.
We'll now return to the dock.
That concludes the case for the defence.
Miss Tate?
Members of the jury, I believe there is only one matter on which this issue rests, and that is the ownership of the weapon used to assault Alexander Reed. It is my submission that the weapon was owned and used by the defendants Martin and Gerald Thornton. Mrs. Gorman saw the weapon in the house immediately after the assault, and the police, although failing to recover it, did find gun-cleaning equipment and a case there. Furthermore, the Thornton brothers have admitted possessing such a weapon, possessing it indeed illegally, and then expect us to believe that they sold it to some person whose name they cannot remember, sold it without its gun-cleaning equipment and case. Now, the defense have suggested that the weapon was owned and used by William Johnson, but they have no evidence to prove this, nor is there evidence to suggest that Johnson had motivation to commit such a crime, as he'd only recently arrived in the Reed household and had no personal argument with the Thornton brothers himself. The Thornton brothers, on the other hand, have produced 3 reasons for their acts of criminal violence. 1, the alleged load splitting. Secondly, the illegal bookmaking. And thirdly, the vandalism to their property. Now, there remains still the question of intention, and it is my submission that this has been clearly demonstrated not only by their behavior, but by their reported remarks. Firstly, in the public house, "We'll finish you." And then, immediately prior to the assault, "Let's finish this bloody thing once and for all." Members of the jury, it is my contention that the Thornton brothers had the motivation, the means, and the intention to commit this criminal act of violence. And that being so, I believe that you have no alternative but to find them both guilty of the charge of attempted murder.
Mr. Lotter.
My Lord. Members of the jury, the prosecution makes much of this empty gun case with its cleaning kit. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, if the defendants were guilty, wouldn't they have disposed of all traces of ever having owned a firearm? They had over an hour before the police arrived. Now, Mrs. Gorman says that she saw a gun in the Thorntons' house. She didn't tell the police this, but this is what she now tells us. Now, I wonder what made her change her story. Ladies and gentlemen, do you believe that Mrs. Gorman, rushing to the Thorntons for shelter, comfort, solace, believed that they had been responsible for shooting Reed? Or don't you rather believe that she went there for protection from the man she knew had shot him, William Johnson? Now, Johnson took over an hour to call the police after his friend had been shot down. There was ample time to dispose of a weapon. I put it to you that it was this man, a man who was Reed's bodyguard, a man with a long record of criminal violence, a man who was angry and who'd been drinking. It was this man who, in the mistaken impression that he was protecting his employer, took the shotgun from the padlock coal store and, in the scuffle that followed, accidentally shot him. Members of the jury, you must find the defendants not guilty.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as both the prosecution and defense counsel have so rightly stressed, the first point for you to decide is who possessed the weapon and who wielded it during the course of this doorstep argument. And I must direct you that if there is any reasonable doubt in your minds that one or other of the defendants did possess and wield this weapon, then you must return a verdict of not guilty. And you must remember that it is not for the defense to prove their case, but for the Crown to prove the case against them. Now, the law states that an attempted murder is any mortal assault which, had it resulted in death, would have been murder. Now, if you consider that the Thorntons did possess this weapon, you may nonetheless still wish to judge the evidence against them separately. Since, for the case to be proven against both defendants, you would have to decide that both brothers went to Reed's house with a common intention and a common criminal purpose. Of course, if you are satisfied that such was the case, then you will find them both guilty. But, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you may feel that the elder brother, Martin Thornton, was not involved, and that he was ignorant of his brother's activities and took no other part than that of simple assault. And under these circumstances, you may consider that a reduced finding against Martin Thornton might be appropriate. But, members of the jury, should you make this reduced finding against Martin Thornton, and should you, at the same time, still be convinced in your own minds that Gerald Thornton did possess and wield the weapon, then it would still be open to you to find Gerald Thornton alone guilty of attempted murder. Now, members of the jury, you will kindly retire and consider your verdict.
All stand. The prisoners will remain standing. Members of the jury, will your foreman please stand? Answer this question, yes or no. Have you reached verdicts for both defendants on which you're all agreed?
Yes.
Do you find the defendant Martin Thornton guilty or not guilty of attempted murder?
Guilty.
Is that the verdict of you all?
It is.
Do you find the defendant Gerald Thornton guilty or not guilty of attempted murder?
Guilty.
Is that the verdict of you all?
It is.
Go on.
Martin and Gerald Thornton.
Mr. Justice Waddington sentenced Martin and Gerald Thornton to 8 years imprisonment for the attempted murder of their next-door neighbour. A chance for you to join another jury in assessing the facts when our cameras return to watch another leading case in the Crown Court.